Welcome everyone, it's Kimaya with the Power Presentation Show, and I am so excited to have a very special guest and colleague and friend of mine, Dr. Alan Gaveck with Cell Science. He is a world-renowned speaker on the education of stem cell therapy and regenerative medicine, and also a dear friend of mine. And I promised you guys that I would have guests like this that really know what it's like to be in the trenches of being an entrepreneurship. And when I met Alan, he was starting in this whole industry that I had to get an education of, and I found it so fascinating. And to see where he has been just, a year ago now?
Year and a half, yeah.
I mean, tell us the journey. That's what my people want to hear.
Well, I was probably like a lot of other people. I'd had several businesses. I was a surgeon for 15 years, ended up selling my practice, just dissatisfied with everything going on. Mm-hmm. Worked in other businesses that I really enjoyed, but didn't really take off to how I wanted them to. And when I saw this, it's just something inside like this is like your one shot in your life.
Yes.
This is the big one. And I felt it. I gave up a job paying me $300,000 a year to start this company. And it's not always easy, but when you love it, I didn't really think about that. The day-to-day struggle is what it is, because that's just life. But when you're kind of focusing on really the benefit that it does, it's not about the money or the success or that sort of thing. Those are nice because you got to pay bills.
Right.
But the reality is, if you really love what you're doing and you can see how much it helps, mankind, then it's easy. You kind of forget the day-to-day struggles. You just go on because you love what you're doing.
So sometimes, in the previous episodes, I talk about, you're an entrepreneur when, and I give all these little key steps, and, people laugh. I've gotten comments and people calling me saying, I don't know if I'm cut out for it, because it is hard. You wake up in the morning, nobody tells you got to wake up at 6 a.m. to check your emails, to get on your hustle and make it happen. What made you, what was the turning point that you said, I know I can do this?
I mean, I'd worked jobs, but never really salaried positions so much, more commission type jobs. But it was still, be there at 8 or be there at 9, and work to 5. And when I probably realized that I had the entrepreneurial spirit was when 5 o'clock was just a time on the clock. I'd be there till 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, because you're finishing that day, you're preparing for the next day. It has very little to do with what time the clock says. And I think that's probably when I realized that my life is much more, and maybe I'm not up at 6 a.m. all the time. Maybe I don't get up till 9, but I may be working until 11 o'clock at night. Hello. Right? That's just the life. It has nothing to do with what time it is. It's just the fact I do what I love.
Exactly.
And I guess if that makes me an entrepreneur, then I am.
What would you say, and this is a question that I get when I sit down with a client and I talk to them about a business venture, and in your case, stem cell. I mean, wow, talk about an uphill climb. It's not like you want to do a t-shirt company or something that would be a product that everybody is familiar with. How did you come up with the idea to form a business with it? How did that come about?
Well, I worked in and out of the stem cell business for about the last 7 years. I did production, developed new product lines using placental tissue and amniotic fluid and that sort of thing. And for some reason, it really stuck in me that this really has a lot of potential. But United States was not ready at that point in time with the FDA regulations to have what we're doing today.
Right.
So I continued to read, continued to research, continued to study, and when it became available, it wasn't as if I planned waiting for it to happen. It was just my interest. It was like a natural interest level that I continued to just read and study, and when it came, I was just naturally prepared. And it wasn't something I necessarily consciously thought about.
Right.
It was just my interest level.
Right.
So when it came, I was ready to go.
And I've talked to several different entrepreneurs in the music industry and businessmen who started with nothing. They had $500 and they were, working as a truck driver and still wanting to do it. And what would your advice be to people? Because sometimes I think people go so black and white. And I was going to do an episode on that where it's like all or nothing, living in your trunk and you can't pay your bills, or you borrow from Peter to pay Paul and then you never really get off the ground. I mean, give me what you think from your experience in this last year. What is a safe thing that you think you would tell future entrepreneurs there that are going, I don't know how I'm going to do it, I still got my bills to pay, I don't know how I'm going to do it? What would you say to them?
Do it because you love it, not because you're going to think you're going to make a ton of money. Because if you really love it, you'll sleep in the backseat of your car because it's a passion. And when it's a passion, it really doesn't matter. I love this, and I was willing to do whatever was necessary. Fortunately, it wasn't that difficult. I had your help, building a business plan and really building the structure. But you just do what you love. I think it's as simple as that.
And I think that's important. We always talk about clients, and my partner and I always go, well, passion is great, but passion without profit is just folly. You do have to have a plan,
True.
and a lot of people don't realize the substance of a good business plan or the substance of some kind of a direction. What would you say, is that an important thing? Do you think that helped you, or do you think it was, you can take it or leave it, and what do you think about that?
No, I think it's incredibly important because when I came to you to write a business plan for me, I had a completely different idea about how I was going to run this company, and by you taking the time to write the plan, you really showed me that I had way more worth than I really thought I had.
Well, you did.
So over a year ago, I was planning to just be an arm of another company. And you pointed out to me that that's not necessary based on simple business values, that you have your own value. And a year later, we see that. Things have changed significantly in 1 year, and it's gone by in a flash.
It has.
A year and a half. Yeah. I don't even remember how long it's been.
Yeah, about a year and a half.
Probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
But it's gone by in a flash. And so a business plan, I think somebody that can properly prepare you for a business plan really can set you up for success because it shows you what you have and who you are.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that was important.
I appreciate it. Nice plug, huh? Any last words you want to say to the audience? I'd love to have you back on. I know, he's all over the world now, and it is really, I have to tell you, when you get with a client, for me, I take such ownership in every client. They become a part of my family. It's like from the embryonic stage to rocking them to getting them where they got to go. And it was easy with him. He makes it sound like I did so much, but really it was what I saw in him already. And most entrepreneurs do have that. They just don't know it. And I look at your life right now and I'm so proud that I did get to be a little part of it. You did all the work. All I did was this much, but it just shows you that when you follow something and you believe in something, I'm so proud of you because I remember that first day at California Pizza Kitchen, and do you remember what I asked you? It was the funniest thing.
No.
We sat there, he had his little notes, and I said, you are so good at what you do, and I see so much in you, but, what is your legacy statement? Mm-hmm. And I remember the look on your face. What did you think when I asked you that?
Was something I never thought of, and that was kind of the beginning of learning what a business is about. I've had several businesses, but I've always kind of put them together by the seat of my pants and ran them, and it's probably a really good reason why you get to a certain level and you can't go beyond that level because the structure's not been put in place. Even just a thought process hasn't been put in place of where you're going.
Right.
You make a business because you love it. Sure, I was a surgeon, so why shouldn't I be super successful? And I was successful, but I hadn't planned to take it to that level where I wanted to be. And that was based on structure.
Interesting.
So without structure, I couldn't go there. And that's probably having to sit down and think, what is my legacy? What is the legacy of this company? What do we want to do? And that was probably the beginning of changing my thinking as to where we're at and why we are where we are today.
Yes. Well, I'm so proud. I know you're busy getting ready. You just got back from the Philippines and going to be heading back all over the world now. World-renowned Dr. Alan Gaveck with Cell Science. Such a pleasure. Thank you. I need a hug.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you soon, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes.